Welcome to Sweeping the Country. I'm here, Derek Walker, my co-host, Mr. Jimmy Carter. Always a pleasure to speak with you. Hey, Jimmy.
I tell you, trying to look and see what the world is doing through some kind of binoculars over the last couple of weeks, because we missed last week.
We did, yes.
I mean, holy cow. Biden was sinking. I mean, he was like the Titanic. It was going down. It was just a matter of when, and when happened.
Right.
In a tweet. Isn't that so strange?
Yeah.
That something as important as the President of the United States running and not running gives up in a tweet. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The message was out there.
Yeah.
And boy, all these people. Now, the cover of New York Magazine, not something that would be widely seen at all. Number one, because it's a magazine. Number two, it's called New York.
Do they still print that magazine?
Apparently.
Huh.
And they've got a cover here that's called Welcome to Camelot.
Oh, gosh. Kamalot.
And it's got all these, of course, they're fake pictures, but of Schumer, Obama, Biden,
oh boy,
Pelosi, all of them with their hands up in the air, happy days, or here again, like Rocky winning or something. And, it said that the Democratic Party has discovered their future, and it was already in the White House.
Wow.
They have totally reinvented this woman in 2 weeks from being, first of all, no one even knew what she was doing the last 3 years, really, because, it's like a lot of vice presidents, she didn't really follow what they do.
That's right.
But she had a pretty liberal background in California as attorney general, prosecutor, San Francisco, all that stuff.
That's right.
And her issues, when she's made a point of coming up with the issues, they are way out there compared to even some people in the Democratic Party. So they're going to I don't think they're going to try to yank her for political versions toward the center a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just try to reinvent her as she's some new discovery. And it's just, wild. And of course, the media, the Northeast media, is absolutely all in. And it's not being biased. I mean, it's not just saying this. I mean, the Fox people are trying to tread water because the Trump shooting, he got a bump in popularity after that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then this came in, and that took that all away. And you've got the Vance pick, which, as much as they've gone with everything popular and the excitement and the razzle-dazzle of Kamala, they're doing the evil Darth Vader of J.D. Vance.
They sure are, yeah.
Because he's got some stuff in his background as far as things that he have said that, they're a little bit hard to deal with, in a wide open presidential campaign. He's been pretty, I guess you have to say radical, as much as she has been radical.
I would agree to one
and
side.
Trump is radical. Everybody's in the extreme, because being in the middle of the road, you'll just get run over.
What I think is interesting, if you go back to when Kamala was running for president, they didn't love her that much then.
No, she didn't even make it into the first primary. She was kicked out real fast.
So real fast. Is it the 3 years experience that she has now?
No, it's just that she was the one available.
Right place, right time.
Right. I mean, you couldn't go with the California governor, because he is absolutely too extreme, and that would just have been, I think, pretty much a massacre. And with her, I mean, she gets a lot of the squares and checks on the tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But again, when she goes when she has to deal with, the honeymoon just goes on and on. But as soon as she has to start speaking where a national audience is watching her, when she has to, if they do debate, which I don't know that they will.
I don't know either. I'm anxious to see what happens,
But I think it's it could go either way again, because Trump, I don't know, they'd have to do a lot of practicing with somebody playing the role of her, and I don't know, that's going to be touchy.
Yeah,
because he's so off the cuff, and it was easy for him to pick on another white male old guy, because he's a white male old guy.
Yeah, easy.
So going with anybody other than that is going to be touchy for him. So I don't know. This is a very interesting situation, but the world right now is hotter, and literally hotter than hotter than a fireplace. I mean, the weather's doing crazy stuff. Dollywood, of all places,
Oh, I
got
saw that. Yeah.
drowned yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
flash floods going on there. You've got fires typically in the West anyway, but
Yeah.
north of you in Jasper
Oh
is
my
really bad
gosh.
fire, I understand. There have been some fires. There are some fires in Washington, Oregon, and then the
Oregon's
Park
huge.
fire is near Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's been huge. So you've got all that going on. You've got some things you can't do anything about. I mean, that was an arsonist that started the Sacramento fire.
Yeah,
So
I've heard two stories, and there was another fire, and maybe this is the same one where the guy had his car had caught on fire, and he pushed it into
that's
a
the
ditch.
one.
Yeah, and he pushed it into a ditch, and then there's another one locally here that had just started from caused by man, also man or woman, but by human being. But yeah, I just don't get it. And Oregon right now just out of control, hundreds of thousands
Hundreds of
of
fires.
acres and just burning, and we've been covered for 2 weeks.
Well,
With
I'm told
smoke.
that the island where Victoria is off the coast of Vancouver,
Yeah,
that
Victoria
area,
Island.
is very dry.
Yeah.
That a lot of things are really dry. There has been almost no rain, so things are very touchy
Well, yeah,
in
and
a
it's
lot
been
of
over
a lot of
100
these
degrees
places.
for a month.
Yeah, been
Here.
that and
So,
everything, no rain.
yeah.
And then you've got just today, as we do this on the 29th, somebody, the 17-year-old, doesn't appear to be terrorism, but a 17-year-old walked into some Taylor Swift themed kitty thing and killed two kids,
Oh,
stabbed
jeez.
12 of them.
Oh,
A couple of
jeez.
parents stabbed,
Where
or they
was
got
that?
him somewhere in England, somewhere
Hmm.
near Liverpool. And so that's kind of a breaking news story. You've got all these children that were killed at a soccer game, soccer
Yeah, I
practice
saw that.
in
Yeah.
Israel, Hamas, and Israel is going to do something. We don't know what. And
Yeah.
so every time that happens, that something happens like that, they're going to respond.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't know what Hamas is thinking because they're not thinking apparently, but they're going to respond and they're going to get hurt much worse
Yeah.
than whatever hurting they put on Israel is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
come back to them tenfold. And but again, that's Iran stirring the pot. Iran doesn't care. No one's been brave enough to shoot up their place.
Right.
So
Right.
while that's they don't care if Hamas gets shot. So I mean that's World War III, just like hanging on a
Teetering.
thread
Yeah, you're
all
right.
the time. And of course, I don't know what's going on in Ukraine because the media is too busy covering Kamala.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so
Exactly.
and it's they don't you can get in trouble just observing what they do. I'm going to shut up about all that now, but it's just just be fair. I mean, compare the issues of her versus Trump and bring out all the stupid stuff that he does and bring out all the stupid stuff that she does, and let's just look at it together. But I mean, Biden now today wants to, this is so typical of them. Every time they don't get a ruling they like, they want to add more people to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, change it. We're going to
And
change it.
and that's not going to happen. So, it's just a lot of that stuff is put out there for the electoral, for the red meat, to get the base stirred up because they don't have people stirred up right. Well, they may now, but 2 weeks ago, I mean,
It was
they were
dying. It
flatlined
was
as far
dying,
as excitement was concerned.
Yeah.
So now if they throw, you're going to get the justice, you got to get a constitutional amendment to do some of the stuff he's talking about, and they keep wanting to pay off everybody's school debt. The courts already threw that out and said they can't
Right,
do it.
right.
But they think they can. And they're talking about Trump wants to be a king. What do you call that?
Right.
When you're ignoring what court orders have said and do things anyway. And and then also you take somebody who got whatever it was, 14 million votes in a primary,
Yeah.
throw it out, stab him in the back, and then put somebody else in there that wasn't even in a primary. I mean, that sounds like, the pot calling the kettle black.
Well, it sounds
they
to
do
me,
that.
it's funny that you say that, and I agree with you, but it sounds to me almost like a third world country in the way
It
the
does,
operation is
yeah.
going. Every time I hear it, I just go, what is happening here? When did we get so sideways?
Well, they knew this guy, and they knew Biden was old, and
Sure
they
they
knew
did.
that he hasn't had meetings with congressional people because he'd been screwing them up, and so there was, they just didn't know how to wrestle the power from him
Yeah.
to get him not to run 6-10 months ago
Yeah.
because he liked it up there, and Jill liked it up there, and Hunter
Sure they
liked
did.
it up.
Yeah, sure they
So
did.
he didn't want to quit, and they had him so isolated. all of them kept saying, "Joe, you're wonderful. Joe, you're wonderful." And then one day he wasn't.
But it doesn't happen in one
Boy, it
day. You
happened
know
fast.
that. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
it didn't happen one day at all.
yeah.
But I mean, they used that. But once that debate exposed him, there was no
Yeah.
coming back from that. It
No.
just they just couldn't figure out. They were kind of hoping he would just go quietly, but I think it was a little harder than that. But there's so much politics being played, and they got to do so much now to get to do something with her to keep her from doing something that's going to just make people crazy. But
Jimmy,
I
as
don't
you
know. I
talk
mean,
about it,
if even her voice to me is disturbing.
I
But I
cannot
tried to
disagree.
listen to Trump's speech the other night,
Yeah.
and he's doing so much theatrics at
Yeah, I
these
agree.
things.
I agree.
And I know that when he sticks to the prompter, somebody's written, for him the issues, and they write, "I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that." Okay, okay, but then he goes to ad lib to work on it, to his stand up act, and I'm just tired of all of them. I really am
I
tired of
agree.
all
I
of them.
had a
I'm
weird
so exhausted from Trump and Biden and this, Kamala business and this Schumer and Pelosi's tricks. And, the Republican people really hadn't had a lot of tricks
No, it's
because
tiresome.
they're overshadowed by Trump so much.
Well, I
But
watched the speech obviously at the Republican National Convention, as did a lot of people.
which
And
one? Trump's speech?
yeah, right after he'd
Oh,
been shot,
oh, yeah.
and the speech started out really nice. It really did. I mean, there was some compassion, and there was some, bah, I got a wake up call kind of thing. And then it went the other way, and like you say, he gets off of the teleprompter, which is probably a great speech if you just
And that
read
was
the damn
way
thing.
too long a speech, it
It went
timed out to
it
whatever
went
it was.
long. It really did went long. But I think what's
Very long.
happening with us, not only the American people, I think we're fatigued from all the BS that's going on. And we're not stupid. I mean, obviously we can see the politics coming into play. We can see the mudslinging coming into play. We see what's actually happening with both parties and what they're trying to achieve. We're not stupid, but we're frustrated because one, it feels like there's nothing we can do, right? And two, it feels like it's just goes on and on and on. On and on. And
I know.
whoever
And
gets in there, we do it all again, and it's crazy. It is
and the
crazy.
choices, and it, it really does make a difference when they looked at their bench to try to see who they could pull out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who was there?
some of the people just were too much. And the cabinet members, this obviously wasn't really Mayor Pete. I mean, Mayor Pete could have had a chance,
Maybe. Yeah.
but he's accomplished nothing. In fact, things are more screwed up than they've ever been at all the things under his rules, the FAA, the trend. Look at all the computers going out and doing crazy stuff, and I mean, just everything that he's involved with, it's gone backwards instead of forwards. It seems
Yeah. Yeah.
he hasn't had good results,
And it feels like too, Jimmy,
or it doesn't feel like it anyway.
it feels like too that all the people that either love or hate Trump, and all the people that love or hate Kamala, love or hate Kamala. That's it. You're not
Right. I
changing
mean, the
any
blue
minds.
is the blue and the red is the red, and again, they're going to fight this out
Yeah,
in maybe 4 states with a few people
yeah,
because the UAW president, the union bosses
mm-hmm.
are for, as they would always be, I think, Democrats.
The Democrat,
But the rank and file, they're not going for that because the UAW people, their jobs were getting lost because of this going green thing and going
Right.
with the electric.
Right.
So the UAW people, the rank and file, want to keep making pickup trucks and cars that people
Sure.
want to buy.
Sure, exactly.
And so I think, they're not going to get those people over. When it gets to be the quiet booth, they're going to vote what they're going to vote.
Yeah.
That's what's going to. So you don't hear them talking even about Michigan so much, but
Yeah, it's there.
the Pennsylvania and the Minnesota and the Michigans,
Yeah.
maybe even I don't think Ohio's really in the bag, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a couple of things. It's not going to be that different from the way it was the last time, whenever it was 2020.
Yeah. Well, and
And
I've
Lord
also
knows what other surprises. Look, we still got a world that's doing a lot of crazy stuff right now.
Oh yeah.
And how are the Chinese and the Russians playing out this election? Are they getting involved? Who do they want in there?
Right.
And I don't
right.
know if they'd want either one of these people. I don't think they want Trump, and I don't think they want Kamala.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. And
Because
also,
Biden, didn't even talk to anybody. He wasn't even communicating. I'm not so sure. I don't know. It just that's very. She's been around, but man, you hear some of the things she wants to do.
yeah, you got to
It's
think
very,
twice.
very extreme.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I look at some of the, some of the stuff I watch, I think to myself, I just don't even feel like there's any trust left. And I don't care who you pick in government.
The FBI director was hemming and hawing whether or not it was a bullet
Right.
the other day.
Did
We
you
went through a whole news cycle of at least 24 hours where there was some debate coming from him, and then they finally said no, it was a bullet.
Yeah.
But
But
they've all been trying to do weird stuff with that whole story. And then I heard some really, well, he's a congressman, and I think he's a very right wing congressman. But because there a lot of people in this country, there's a conspiracy behind every corner,
yeah.
and they've met a conspiracy they didn't like. But it may be just what it is. But boy, that sure sounds like, if you hear the conspiracy people, it is weird that this 20-year-old had a rangefinder and a
Walking
and
all
an AR
over.
rifle and walking around.
Drone footage.
They had him, and they had drone footage
Yes.
and some kind of explosive stuff, and he's walking around, and they're texting about him. If you're reading
Yeah,
some
I
of that
just
now,
saw that
but
today.
he's still roaming around, and they still haven't called the event or paused it while they settled what this was, and then the next thing he's up there on the roof, and boom, he's shot, and that was only by a zillimeter that wasn't an assassination. I mean,
It was such a fraction. And Jimmy, they have taken people and moved them. I've watched them move them out of the stands at Lambeau Field for lightning, which may or may not even happen. I've watched them move 65,000 people under the overhang, right? And they can't move one guy just for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Hold on to the speech.
Well, then they lost him. They had him. They lost him, and of course, you didn't have enough people there.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's just odd. And then the kid has nothing.
No fingerprint.
I mean, he just came up with the idea on his own. Nothing influenced him. Nothing in the computer. It's just weird.
I agree.
I mean, it may be one of the weirdest assassins ever, because they all seem to be influenced by somebody. No one quite knew what Oswald was doing either.
Yeah.
Even through all that history, they want to follow him back to him going into the Cuban embassy or going into the Russian embassy in Mexico City or all these different things. But with this guy, this young kid, nothing. And I mean, what movies was he watching? He just didn't was born one day where he's going to do this. He had to have been watching a movie or reading books or watching some story or something that got him the idea peripherally, if nothing else. So that's all crazy.
Yeah.
And the world just keeps being odd.
Well, now it's spinning more slowly. You've seen that now. The Earth
I heard that. No,
starting to
know
reverse
that.
course, and we're getting. But
the airlines. Let's talk about that for a second.
Oh,
because,
sure.
I'm a multi-million miler on American, multi-million miler on Delta.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten on a plane since right before COVID.
Wow, that's a pretty long run. You're talking 5 years.
It's real long, and I just can't make myself get back on.
What is it that's freaking you out?
I do not. It seems like that it's almost like Con Air. The people that are flying are like, I think they dump out the prisons and everything else and put people on these flights. I mean, I went to I had a TikTok thing, and I just kept going down the thread.
Yeah, the
and
rabbit
it was a
hole.
Different incident aboard different airplanes.
And there are
different
hundreds.
incident each time. And last thing I want to do is get up there and have something like that going on, and people fighting in the aisles. And then there've been a number of runway incursions where the plane this one controller's yelling at an Aeroflot plane that's coming in, "Don't stop, 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 stop." And there's been a bunch of that going on.
Yeah.
I've had pilots heard third hand, fourth hand from different people, pilots concerned, that there could be an incident coming because there seems to be a lot of mistakes being made with air traffic control, with pilots that are not maybe trained as well as they used to be.
I was going to say, what do you think it is? But that's some of it right there.
There's been a pilot shortage.
Yeah, that's
And they
right.
retired a bunch of them at COVID time or whenever when things got, pilots they got rid of a bunch of people because they nobody was flying. So they never came back, some of those people. And then sometimes you're getting people coming in there that, not enough Air Force and other pilots that are coming into the airlines, and it's just a combination of a lot of different stuff, and people just acting like insane people. And these airlines, they've crowded the seats more in than they ever have before,
Yeah, that
and
is
it's
true.
not even a first class in some of the flights anyway. If you wanted to bump up, and it's just that in the airports themselves are zoos because you have like the CrowdStrike computer thing that went off
Oh yeah,
and
that was
screwed
a
things up, and
disaster.
bags
Yeah.
get lost for days. I'm not taking that chance for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was an emergency and I had to go somewhere, of course,
Yeah.
I would get on a plane and go. But just for entertainment's sake and going somewhere, no. And I got enough problems with my back. And to be stuck somewhere on a runway for 3 hours and then they come back and dilly-dally with you, like this story I was listening to today. They finally canceled the flight after 7 or 8 hours
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
not loading, loading, and then unloading, and then the pilots and the flight attendants score out. They can only be
Yeah. So many
working
hours.
so many hours a day, and then they can't find people to get in there and fly, and yeah. So I'm just driving, and we're gonna try to get out if we can keep ourselves well,
Yeah.
to do another one of these 10-day, 2-week vacation trips
Road
where
trip.
we're going to do the spine of the country this year. Not going to go to the West Coast. We've done that completely. We're not going to go to the East Coast. We've done that
What are
completely.
you going up the Mississippi?
So we're going up to Mississippi basically,
I love
and
it.
going to hit places in Minnesota, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, uh, Missouri,
Have you
maybe Michigan,
have you thought
and we're
about
going to.
a boat up the Mississippi? Taking a boat.
No, we don't
No.
want. That's too slow. I mean, I want to.
Okay, yeah,
We
that's
got to
true.
move. We're fast moving people, and so we're going to trains or a theme.
Oh, that would be
Uh,
fun.
Going to a couple of railroad museums in Illinois and
Nice.
Kansas City. We're going to probably the Thunderbirds in Wichita.
Oh, nice.
We're going to the National Eagle Center in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to the National Toy Museum.
Oh,
We've got to
I've
going
never
to get
been to that.
reservations and go to a steakhouse that I've heard about in Kansas City.
Nice.
We're going to that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. That sounds like a fun trip. I mean,
the
that's not one I.
Strategic Air Command Museum in Omaha. So it's just a lot of military, a lot of trains,
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
I like it.
So we'll see.
I like it. 2 weeks is good. I'd like to do
So
something
we're
like that myself.
we're roaming around, and we'll see how it is.
Well,
But
be careful out there.
it's still in the planning stages. So
I gotcha.
we're not leaving till August 16th or something.
August
like that.
16th. All right, good deal. Well, it sounds like a fun trip. I've
No,
actually.
that's it. It's being put together because we don't want to eat that good every day, but we're going to eat a couple of famous meals in the towns that they're famous for.
Heck yeah, you got to do that. I like the
So
steakhouse idea,
yeah,
especially
Kansas City. I think you're supposed to eat a steak
You got
in
to.
Kansas City.
Yeah, you got to.
And I got to eat some barbecue in Kansas City too.
You got to
so we
do
know we
that
have to.
too. Well,
We're
you
going
can.
to try to go to the Eisenhower Museum
Oh,
in
that'll be
Abilene,
awesome.
Kansas.
That'll be great.
The Truman Museum in Independence, Missouri.
Back
So
when,
all these are spots that we're all heading up on.
nice. I like all that. Back when
And then
politicians
all
were
this is going
honest.
to be on the Facebook posting.
Okay.
That's still going strong.
Now, are you going to be doing live videos each day so that we can follow along?
I probably will do more
Yeah.
videos than I have done before.
Do some reels for us so we can kind of see what's
do
going
some
on.
of that.
Yeah,
And,
nice.
and I'll be taking a lot more pictures and more videos than I've done.
Excellent. Well, I'll share them on Sweeping the Country on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So you'll see
But
those
anyway,
there.
we're just all in the planning stages. And last year we did New York City and Atlantic City and
All that
North
good stuff.
Carolina, the Wright brothers' place,
That's awesome too. I
and
like
all that.
too.
So we're covering ground that neither one of us. I mean, I've been to the Kansas City airport, the Des Moines airport. Never had
That's
boots
about
on
it.
the ground in any of those places.
Well,
And the Field of Dreams place in Iowa, all
yeah.
that stuff.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I'm anxious to see your photography.
I'm anxious to do it. I'm sitting here planning. It's like planning a television show, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of logistics.
Yeah, but it's
When
awesome.
things are opening, how long does it take to get from point A to point B? Hotel situations and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it's
I wish we
a lot
all.
of planning
I
involved.
wish we all. I don't think you have time, so I want to ask you this. I wish we all had time to do that. Right? by the time I drive over there, it's going to take me a week just to get over that way, maybe 4 days. But I mean, did you just say, okay, I don't care, I'm just taking 2 weeks, I'm just going? I mean,
Well, in
because
this case, I am saying that. I know I'm not going to work certain jobs for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I may have to do a little bit of radio
Yeah.
somewhere in there, but not much.
Yeah. Okay. So
Because I mean, I just haven't had that kind of vacation. Really just haven't done it, and I haven't gone up in my rates on some things I charge.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, deal with it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's where I guess you got to get to that point. I don't know.
You do. You have to get to that point.
Because I want to
Because
do
I've
it
never
too.
been able to do this before. Because I've just never. I think I've had a 10-day vacation once or something.
Wow.
Like
And your
that. But I'm
entire
going to
life.
try to get that one. I said, listen, none of us are getting any older,
Yeah.
and
Younger.
you got to work. But at some point, you just got to do something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And most of my bucket list has been very filled. I don't want to go to Antarctica, and
Yeah.
I'm not going at this life. Don't care.
Yeah.
But I mean, things that I am interested in, I would like to see because I've
Well,
seen
I mean, Jim,
most everything else. So
your bucket list is different from the average person. I mean, you were in Scotland with Sean Connery. That's not an
Yeah.
average person's bucket list. That's something you
with
add.
Meg Ryan in Paris
Right,
and everything.
right. You
Yeah,
add
yeah,
if you just brought that up, you say, "Would you put that on your bucket list?" I would say, "Oh yeah," but I wouldn't have thought of it unless you'd done it, and you've done all that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what your bucket list looks like, but I know that you've done a lot of things in your lifetime, so you can easily say, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that anymore. This is what
yeah, and I don't
wanted."
need. I mean, going to the beach. I've done that all my life too, and it hadn't been that long since I saw the beach.
Yeah,
And I do like the food at the beach
yeah,
generally.
I do too.
And I love the coast I love both coasts of the United States. I love
And they're
the Washington
different.
State coast. I love the California coast. I love the Oregon coast. I love the Maine coast. Oh my goodness. Maine is so extraordinary. Particularly in the summertime when the rest of the country is burning up.
Yeah.
It's cool there.
I don't even know that, but I know that the coasts are different. I know they're different,
They're
hugely
very different and very cool. Both all of them are very nice.
Yeah.
And the farther south the coast, like in South Carolina, Wilmington and different places like that, Daytona.
Yeah.
That's all stuff I've been going to my life. But going up, I've just seen it in movies, and I've been in Minneapolis, got stuck there one night in St. Paul actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've done a little bit of those things. I've been and did a movie thing with somebody in Minneapolis, so I don't need to go there. But
Yeah.
just it's some of these other places.
Man, you're like
know,
Lewis and Clark, Ted and Jimmy, the excellent
Yeah,
adventure.
Ted and Jimmy. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Wisconsin, and
That'll be
Ted
fun.
wants to go to
Have some-
Wisconsin,
you
so
get
we're-
some cheddar cheese when you're there, and
I'll cut the cheese. I
cut
don't
the
do that.
cheese, eat the cheese, whatever you
But
do.
it's just a beautiful. Its state is very green and pretty.
Yeah.
And, as long as they don't send that smoke from Washington and Oregon over that
Well, let's
way,
hope
we're-
it stops at the Rockies and you don't get any of that.
Yeah, I hope so because it's people are starting to get that smoke. There's so much of it.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, always a pleasure. Fun topics today. And as I mentioned earlier, if you enjoy the show and you want to tell a friend, do that. Remember to catch Jimmy on his YouTube channel, Facebook. It's Ask Jimmy Carter, right? On Facebook or just
Right,
Jimmy
it is on Facebook. Ask Jimmy Carter. You should be able to find me on YouTube or on Facebook. And Facebook's a public page, so you can comment. And boy, I'm telling you, some of the things people went crazy when I posted a picture of Lee Greenwood and Kid Rock. I posted a picture of them. It's just they just took a picture together. They both were at the Republican National Committee
That's right. Yeah.
convention. And I said two voices, same politics, and something else. It's a very neutral post.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it went viral and it went crazy.
I imagine it did. I mean, they're both from such different worlds, but really, are they? I don't know.
But boy, people so nasty. Kid
Oh.
Rock, a lot of people nasty
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah, it's
We just had an
it's
earthquake,
interesting.
4.9.
Where?
Let's see.
Where?
It said early Monday afternoon. I thought, wait, but that was what day? What's today?
Monday afternoon.
Monday.
Early.
Oh, right now. 13 miles northeast of Barstow, San
Ooh,
Bernardino
California.
County.
Oh, Southern Cal.
4.9's getting on up there where
Yeah,
Shake stopped. I was
Yeah.
in a 5,
that's pretty
4.9
good size. Yeah.
in Los Angeles in my hotel room when one hit 29 Palms,
Mm-hmm.
which is further out.
Yeah.
But it was like a 5. It shook a railroad train off. It took a
What
train
was-
off the track.
What was the Bay Area quake? How big was that? That one was
Which one?
the Bay Area quake, Battle of the Bay, when the two
Oh,
teams
that was like
7 or 8.
6.
It was 6. Okay. I have to look.
I don't
now.
know. I think it
Now
was
I
high.
gotta know.
Yeah, the 4.9s,
They can do some damage. There's no question about that.
no, 4 is getting on up there where people feel it particularly and start getting into some,
Well, and
let me just see what it is real quick.
Southern California, people, it scares you.
That quake stuff's been kind of quiet lately, hasn't it?
It has, but that's always like a precursor.
Area
Is there
earthquake,
another
how
one
big was it?
coming? Is there a bigger one coming? Is this the?
That's what I've told people about that. Well, when was this? July 28, 3.3 was in Fairfield, California. That's up near
a
San
little,
Jose.
yeah.
So it's been kind of active.
Interesting.
The largest Bay Area, 1989. That's the one we all remember.
Yeah, that was Oakland A's and the San Francisco
I
Giants.
was watching. That's when I was buying my Rainbow vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, my mom was
during
in
that.
San Francisco.
$6 billion in property damage, but doesn't say what the rating was. Why did not tell me that?
I'm trying to look it up too.
I mean, I'm looking through. It tells me everything in the world about it except what the measurement.
Let's see. It says, have they ever had a magnitude 9? No.
No, I'm sure of that.
Oh, 7.2. April 1992? Is that it? 92?
1990. Well, where? That's Los Angeles.
No,
isn't
that
it?
was Mendocino. Look at us, Jim. We just can't figure it out.
In San Francisco, here we are. 1906, it took the town
Well, that
down.
burned the town to the ground.
That was 7.9.
So 8.
And that was
roughly,
off the coast of California. The one we're talking about, 1989, was 6.9.
That's it? Holy
6.9,
cow.
and that took the place. Remember, it knocked down the freeway.
Oh yeah, the
in Oakland, the
Embarcadero.
elevated
So
road.
I had gone on that earlier in the day, and that is a one-way, couple 3-4 lanes. Each deck is 3 or 4 lanes, and it ended up just dropping on a whole bunch of cars. That was awful. The bridge broke.
If people are just, again, this is not something most parts of the country have to deal with. But if you're hearing these numbers, like what was it just now? 4.9?
4.9, yeah.
Okay. If it's less than 3.5, it's recorded on seismographs, but generally not felt.
Okay.
If it's 3.5 to 5.4, often felt, but rarely cause damage.
Okay, so that's okay. Unless it was a little one starting something bigger.
It's under 6, at most, slight damage to well-designed buildings can cause major damage to poorly constructed buildings. And then when it starts getting up above that, you're in bigger trouble. Now, somebody just put it, all right, 4.9 in the Barstow area. Let's see what it says, because its bulletins are coming out now. Depth of 6 miles. I don't know what that means, but they always say that.
I don't know.
Shaking was felt in Calabasas, Los Angeles, Glendale. No injuries, damage reported at this point, but it's all being just kind
Just
of,
happened.
just happened.
Well, there you go. You guys can all check that out and find out. You probably, by the time this is up, which is about 30 minutes from now, there'll be more information on
There will be. So anyway, there's just a lot going on in the world.
Yeah. Here's my message to everybody. Just be kind. Just
Be calm and be kind.
There you go. Perfect. Jimmy, always a pleasure as usual. Until next week when we do this all again, I'm Derek Walker. He is.
I'm Jimmy Carter.
Good day.
Good day.